Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wisdom Wednesday for this week. So remember, with our Wisdom Wednesday, this is just a generalized spiritual discussion based on the energies that we are working with for this week. And this week, we are really working with this energy of being aware of our choices. And that's really what this whole, we could say, discussion is going to be about, is be aware. And what that really means, because this is something I have been saying. Hey, Shirley, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. Because this has been something I've been saying to my clients. Instead of beware, I kept on getting this guidance, like tell them, be aware. And so I'm really excited to be able to share the insights that I've gained through the week working with this energy of be aware. So let's first kind of dive into just the first word here, be. So what is that really inviting us into? Well, if we think about the word be, it is be what? You are a being. So that's our first invitation. We're being invited to step into our being, the truth of who we are. And what is the truth of who we are but awareness? So really, we're getting this beautiful invitation to say, okay, it's time for you to step into your being. It's time for you to step into awareness. But what is awareness anyway? And the way that I like to look at awareness is your focus. Where are you placing your consciousness? Like where are you putting that? Are you putting it out here in the world? Are you putting it within yourself? Are you putting it in other people? Are you putting it, where is your awareness? So that's our first really big key for this week, is where are you putting your awareness? Where are you putting your focus? Now, there's a beautiful line from A Course in Miracles that I really love. And I remember when I first read it, I was like, okay, that's impossible. Like, how would you expect me to do that? But it comes back to being aware. And it says that you have chosen fear, even if the slightest frown crosses your face. You've chosen fear. Now, it's not a judgment about you. It's not saying that you're a bad person. It's simply saying, hey, if you want to know if you're going into fear, just pay attention, be aware of how you are feeling in the moment. And all too often, we don't do that. Here's what we have a tendency to do. We have a tendency to kind of just let our minds wander. And we're not really aware of the present moment or aware of the emotions or the thoughts that are coming up. We're more either in the past thinking about what already happened, or we're thinking about the future and what might happen. And being aware, or be aware, is all an invitation to come into the present moment and be aware of what is occurring in the now moment. Comes up too much. It does. The past does come up a lot. But the past only comes up a lot because that's the ego's mechanism. It says, I can get you. I can get you to go into judgment. I can get you to go into fear. All I have to do is bring up the past. And again, another beautiful Course in Miracles quote says, you still believe that the past lives inside of you. And the past is not inside of you. The past doesn't live within you. The past is only in your mind. And the only reason that it's there is because you have yet to let it go. Because why? Because you're not necessarily putting your awareness in the present moment, because you're letting yourself kind of get pulled back into the past or pulled forward into the future, instead of just let me be here, let me be now, and let me be aware of, yes, the emotions that are coming up and the thoughts that are coming up, but let me instead, I'm just being aware of them. I do not have to engage with them. And there is our other aspect of awareness. Awareness is merely aware. It merely watches. It merely witnesses. It merely observes. It says, oh, okay, well, that's a thought of fear, or that's a thought of sadness, or that's a thought of happiness, or whatever the case may be. It does not, ascribe itself to that. It doesn't say, me being awareness, I am happy, or me being awareness, I am sad. It simply says, I notice that there is a thought, and this thought is triggering an emotion, and this emotion is, fear or happiness or whatever the case is. It does not say, I am. It just simply observes it and is aware of it. And that's what we can begin to do in that present moment. And it just is all about, are you willing to be present in that moment and present with what is? Not your perception, not you saying this is what is happening, but instead being like, okay, I am witnessing what is occurring. I am witnessing what is unfolding in this moment, not from judgment, this is good or this is bad, but simply, I am watching it. I'm watching it unfold. And I'm going to give you guys a great example of this. Now, I am someone, I extremely dislike conflict. I don't like it. I don't like to be in that energy. It's just not something that I enjoy. However, I was in a drive-through line with my mom. We were picking up food for my sister to take down to college for her because she got locked out of her room, and so she needed some food because all her food was in her room, and she had to go to work that night. And there wasn't anyone available to unlock her room for a little bit. So we picked up food for her, and we're in line, and there's this car that's trying to back out. And it's right there, like in the drive-through lane. And so, another person kind of pulls up behind us and kind of blocks that car in a little bit. Well, then another car, of course, pulls behind that car. And so this car is trying to back out, and, the other car, it's about to hit in the drive-through lane. So that car honks, being like, hey, whoa, hold up. And this person, basically puts their car back into drive, gets out, and starts yelling at this other person. And just berating them, cursing at them, calling them all sorts of names. And I am immediately like in this panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so uncomfortable. And then I was like, wait a minute. I am safe because I am witnessing what is happening here. And I can see it, and I can say, you know what? How would love see this? Or how would peace see this? Or spirit? And that was the first thing I said, spirit, please do not let me use this for my destruction, but instead for the coming of my peace, because I was aware in that moment that I was about to use that situation to validate my fear that conflict is scary and that it always escalates and, just all these thoughts and beliefs. But I was aware enough in that moment to be like, whoa. So Ron, today I was aware that I felt sad. However, I did not know why. I did not stay there. And that's beautiful, Shirley. I'm so glad that you were aware of the sadness and that you didn't stay there. Because again, that's something that we have a tendency to do, is that we kind of wallow in those emotions. And it's okay to feel it. It's okay to allow yourself that feeling. And then, okay, it's done. I don't have to know. We try to be like, why am I sad? Why is this coming up? Now, we can, of course, ask, where is this sadness coming from? But again, we don't want to analyze, because that is the realm of the ego, where spirit simply accepts. Spirit just says, it is. This is something that is occurring. This is something that is happening. And so, again, when I was in that line, I got that awareness, and I was like, okay, don't let me use this for my destruction, but instead for the coming of my peace. And for me, something that I do is I will ask for the miracle. And when I ask for the miracle, what I'm asking for isn't that the situation gets solved the way I think it should. I'm not asking for this situation to just magically dissolve. I'm asking for the correction of my perception. That is what I'm asking for. I'm asking from a shift from fear to love. That's all a miracle is. And once that perceptual view is shifted, that's when I get to see the correction. But I have to be aware first. I have to be aware that there's fear. There are thoughts of fear. And I can see those, I can recognize those, and I can say, okay, is that where I want to place my focus and awareness? Is that where I really want to be? No, that is not the truth of who I am, and that is not my beingness. My beingness is pure love, pure awareness. So let me go back to that. Let me go back to my true beingness, and let me be willing to see the situation from there. And again, it's just about being that witness in your own mind. Because again, we don't do that. We just kind of allow things to hit us. And we're just like, oh man, it seems like the world is just coming at us all the time. And the world is not coming at you. The world is responding to your own, you can call it vibration, energy, thoughts, beliefs, like whatever it is. That's what the world is responding to. And this is not to say that the world is your fault, or that the bad things that are happening are all your fault. We're a collective. We're all going through this together. But once one of us can start that awareness process of, ooh, hold up, let me look at this, at least from my perspective, let me kind of step back, and how would love have me see this? Or please don't let me use this for my destruction, but I want it for the coming of my peace. Be willing to just have that awareness, and that's it. It's just to be aware in the present moment and to watch the feelings, watch the thoughts that are rising, and choose, is this where I want to go? It doesn't mean that we ignore the fearful thoughts, or we try to push them down, or the angry thoughts, or the sad thoughts. That's not what we're doing, because that's just repression, and that's not going to help anybody. What we do want to do is we acknowledge them. We're aware of them. Okay, this thought is rising up. Or this thought is rising up, or this feeling is rising up. I see that. I acknowledge that. And surely when it does come to what you're talking about, like this sadness seemed to come out of nowhere, what we have to acknowledge is it's not coming out of nowhere. It's just the thought is not necessarily, the thought that triggered that sense of sadness just wasn't in your awareness at that time. And that's totally fine. You were still willing to be like, you know what? I don't need to know the thought. I'm not going to stay in that energy. So you did perfect. You did such a great job of being like, I'm not going to stay there. But perhaps the next time that occurs, when that sense of sadness does rise, or maybe it's anger, maybe it's frustration, whatever it is, like whatever the emotion is, ask yourself, like, what's the thought? What is the thought behind this? Like, what must I believe, or what must I be thinking for this emotion to be rising up? And some people may say, well, I'm an empath and I'm picking up on other people's emotions. Very well, you very well may be. However, don't use that as a crutch to say, well, the world is just happening to me, and unfortunately, I just have to deal with it. That is disempowerment. You are a powerful being, just as the person who may be feeling that is a powerful being. You have the choice and the awareness. Is this mine? If it's not, angels, take it from me. Or if it's not, guides, take it from me. If it's not, Holy Spirit, take it from me. Whatever you ascribe to your higher power and the helpers to that higher power, use that. If the thought just isn't coming, you're like, I don't know where this sadness is coming from, or I don't know why, there is no thought, that's okay. The thought may just, again, not be in your awareness, because it's in the subconscious. And when we talk about the subconscious, we're not talking about a different mind. What we are talking about is where your awareness is not. That's it. I mean, if we look at subconscious, conscious is, this is where my awareness is. Subconscious is, this is where my awareness is not. So which one do I want? If I want to find out what is in my unconscious, I have to put my focus into those things. I have to be like, okay, I'm willing to pay attention and be aware of the thoughts, the feelings that are rising up. And some people may say, well, that's going to be really hard. It's not hard. It's just different. It's very different, because we're just used to being on autopilot and being like, yeah, okay, well, I'm here and now this thing happened, so now I have to feel this way, or this person said this and now I have to feel that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And you can always choose a new way to respond instead of react. That's the other thing. Be aware, or being aware brings us, is an attitude of, responsibility, our ability to respond, instead of reactivity, which is, okay, subconscious, bam, like I'm just gonna come at you. We get this beautiful new awareness. And that is where we're headed. And that's where we want to continue to head with this. I want to begin to become more aware of my thoughts and feelings. Instead of, well, here's just a thought, here's just a feeling. Nothing ever comes out of the blue. And I remember when I read that in A Course in Miracles, it was like, your emotions don't just roll out of nowhere. They are coming based on a thought that you are either aware of consciously because you're thinking about maybe something sad, or you are unconsciously placing your focus on a thought, or on that thought that's making you sad, but you're unconsciously doing it. You're just kind of allowing your focus, your attention, to wander off into places it doesn't need to be. And it's not, once again, it's not a bad thing. It just simply means you've chosen in that moment to place your awareness on something that is not the truth of who you are. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just something that is occurring. And I think something that we all too often do, on the spiritual path, is we tend to judge ourselves when we're feeling sad, or when we're feeling angry, or when we're feeling upset. It's fine. It's a feeling. It's rising up. It's rising up because it's a guidepost to let you know, hey, you're not focusing on the truth of who you are. Instead, you're focusing on what you are not. And that's it. And if we can just have that awareness of, oh, wow, I became aware of that. Okay, good. Now I have the ability to choose. Again, what am I choosing? I'm choosing a different thought. I'm choosing a different feeling. Even if I don't necessarily know how to do that, I'm still making a conscious choice. And this was something that I didn't quite understand. I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to choose happiness, then don't I have to think happy thoughts? No, I don't, actually. All I have to do is be willing to choose happiness. I'm choosing it. I am making this choice, and I am going to choose happiness. I don't have to know how to get there. I don't have to know what it looks like. I don't need to know anything. All I need to do is be aware of the choice that I have made. And I am aware that I am making the choice for happiness. Spirit then has the open invitation to be like, oh, you're choosing the truth of who you are. You're choosing happiness. Great, wonderful. Let me teach you what happiness is. Because again, we think that we have taught ourselves, we know what makes us happy, or we know what makes us sad, or so forth and so on. But we have taught ourselves very poorly. We are very bad teachers for ourselves. We haven't taught ourselves correctly. We've taught ourselves, oh, this thing or this person or this place or this or that gives me the happiness. And the way that I've come to view happiness and joy and peace and so forth and so on is they are not vibrations or energies that are outside of you. They are all within you, and something may activate that frequency within you. And that's all that it can do. It can add to the happiness that you are, but it cannot take away, nor can it necessarily make you. It can only add or activate that frequency that's already within you. And when you make the choice and say, I am going to place my awareness on happiness, I don't know what it looks like. I'm just going to really place my focus and attention on this word as of right now. Then you've given Spirit an open invitation to come and assist you, to teach you about true happiness and what that really means. But again, it comes to this, it brings us right back. We have to be aware. Where is my focus? If I am starting to feel upset or angry or frustrated, okay, great. What are the thoughts that are activating those that frequency of fear? Because anger, sadness, depression, so forth and so on it's all fear. It's just a different, we'll call it a different flavor of fear. Just like with love, happiness, joy, bliss, ecstasy are just different flavors of love. So what flavor of love do you want to focus on? Or what flavor of fear are you currently focused on? That's it. And think about that. Think how different that is compared to just, I'm sad. Sad. Well, there's at least a little bit of an awareness, like, okay, I'm feeling this way and I'm acknowledging that feeling, but then we can go a little bit deeper. We can say, okay, well, what thought is coming up? And once we start questioning, like, I'm sad, and this is one of my favorite games, and I'll play it with some of my mentorship clients when we get to a point where they are not willing to move their awareness over to what is really bothering them. So I like to play this game. And it is fun to have someone else do it for you, but you could do it for yourself as well. And all you have to do is, I'm sad because. I'm sad because. And if you're like, well, I'm sad because I'm sad. Okay. And I'm sad because. And if that, maybe you're like, okay, that's not working for me. Well, then we can move on to, instead of I'm sad, wow, there's this feeling that, and I'm feeling this, and I'm feeling this because. Again, changing the words. Do it. You can shift the word, shift the phrase, shift whatever you want in order to bring yourself the awareness of the thought or the idea that you are focusing on that is bringing up that sadness. Because again, emotions don't come out of nowhere. And I will have instances of what I like to call just bliss. It is just pure, joyful bliss. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And I love when I have those moments. And it's happy for no reason. There's not necessarily a thing in the world that's making me happy. It's not like, my dog, started talking to me, or I won $1 million or anything like that. It's just all of a sudden this beautiful stream of happiness comes. And that beautiful stream of happiness isn't coming out of nowhere. It's coming because I have chosen to place my focus on the present moment. I have chosen to place my awareness on the here, on the now, where only well-being is. In that moment, I am well. In that moment, all things are working out exactly as they're supposed to. I don't know how that's working out, but it's working out. And so that's where my focus is. That's where my attention is. I'm not focused on the past. I'm not focused on the future. I am just there in that moment. And again, that's what awareness is all about, is just focus there. So again, what are my thoughts? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? And then you can even go, if you want to go real deep with it. And this is just an opportunity if you wish to do so. You do not have to. But you could even go deeper and be like, okay, what's my desire? Like, what's the desire behind this? Like, whatever it may be, what's the desire here? Why have I chosen to focus on this? What is my desired outcome for it? What is it going to do? How is it helping me? How is it adding to my awareness? Or how is it adding to the truth of who I am, which nothing can really add to the truth of who you are. But how is this activating more of the truth of who I am? But getting even deeper. But again, all about awareness, all about just being present, being here, being now, and allowing yourself to be more present in your mind and of your emotions. Just to be that guidepost. That's it. They're just guideposts. They're not good. They're not bad. They just simply are guideposts. And if we're feeling that sadness, okay, then we're feeling the sadness. I feel it, I acknowledge it, and then I let it go, just like Shirley did earlier. She didn't know why she was feeling this sadness. She was just like, I was feeling sad. Then she allowed herself to feel it in whatever way, shape, or form. She didn't stay there. And she chose to move her awareness from sad, sad, sad to something else, to the present now, to the moment. And in so, got herself out of it. And anybody can do it. You do not have to have special powers. You don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to be a medium. You don't have to be someone who has taken 1 million classes. You don't have to be someone who reads cards. And you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be like, in a meditation room or just as you're walking. It can be anywhere, anytime, because where are you doing it? You're not doing it out loud. You're doing it all up here. This is where all the work is happening. Now, if you want to jot something down real quick, you can. If you're someone who needs to write something out, great, do it. Wonderful. Exactly. You have the release, you let it go, and that's it. And then, like I said, you can always, if an emotion seems to be coming out of nowhere, you can always say, I am feeling this way because, or I am sad because, and kind of just let the answer kind of rise up in you. And if you're saying I'm feeling sad because and nothing's coming, that's okay. Change the wording. Or if you want to, if you're more of a visual person, you can always be like, okay, well, I could say that the way, maybe you can't articulate how you're feeling. Maybe you're like, I don't know, I'm just feeling away. Okay, that's fine. How would you depict it as weather? How would you depict how you're feeling as weather? So maybe you're like, oh, really foggy. Ooh, okay, foggy. And there's fog because, and then your mind's going to start associating, oh, well, there's fog because I'm feeling confused. Oh, and I'm feeling confused because I'm not quite sure, where to go or what to do. And I must be feeling that way because I am relying on my own past learning or my own future planning. And I can't really see what's happening in the here and now because I'm either in the past or in the future. So there is no here and now because my focus is either here in the past or here in the future. So right there, just by describing a scene of, I'm feeling foggy. Well, now we've just got to the core of why you're feeling foggy. Or, maybe you're like, oh, it's a roaring tempest. Okay. What's roaring about it? Is there thunder? Is there lightning? Is there wind? Is there rain? And going, just continuing that. But it's just not about analyzation. It's just about awareness. And sometimes we need to have that, visual pictorial representation in order to help bring that into our awareness because we're kind of sneaking around the ego because the ego doesn't want you to look at that because it knows once you look at it, you're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't want this. I don't want to focus here. And so the ego being only an idea, only being fed by your focus and attention, the moment you start to take your focus and attention off of it, that's when it gets scared. So it kind of puts up these imaginary walls and says, nope, you can't look there. Nope, can't look. Don't know what's there. Or it's like, yeah, that's there, but it doesn't do anything about it. I mean, how many times have you know what the issue is, you know what the problem is, but yet you don't do a thing about it? That's the ego for you. It says, oh yeah, honey, here's the problem, but I'm not going to do anything about it. We're going to sit here and know about it, but that's about it. Well, that's great. You have one part of the awareness of, okay, here's the issue. And now the second part of that awareness is, okay, what is the action step that I could take? Again, that awareness. So what a fabulous discussion we have had today. I am so grateful and thankful that I was able to have this conversation with you guys. And don't forget, if you didn't get to catch it all or you wanted to replay it, you can of course replay it here on Facebook. You can of course go to my YouTube channel, or you can actually go to my Wix group, which is done by my website. And I actually have the link in the description if you're interested in joining that. It's very simple. You just click on the link, do the little code that it gives you, and then that's it. You're added to the group, and then you'll be able to see all of my content And a few extras, like tomorrow, I will not be posting here on Facebook, but I will be posting in the group a Thoughtful Thursday. So I'll be giving like a journal prompt for you to, based on one of my oracle decks. And I believe it'll either be the Gateway Oracle or it will just be another deck, but I'm feeling the Gateway Oracle as of right now in this moment. That can always change. So if you're interested in, getting a Thoughtful Thursday, seeing replays before anyone else, or getting special video content, then feel free to go join there. I'll still be posting here on my different social medias, but I will be posting more heavily in that group. So because here on Facebook, sometimes people have told me that the algorithm just doesn't show them my stuff. And they're like, oh my God, Ron, where have you been? I'm like, I've been here, guys. Where have you been? They're like, well, I haven't seen you. So if you want to be able to just stay up to date, you can go to that group. And I also have my very good friend from Spirit Connections on that group as well. And she posts cards. She posts not daily. She'll just kind of post cards up there, but for the energies of the day and so forth and so on. So that is that. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. And I bid you all a beautiful evening full of awareness, full of blessings, full of miracles. And remember, what is a miracle? A shift in perception from fear to love.